Hello everyone, today we are returning to the topic of the coolest and most brutal football derbies in the history of football. It is hard to find a brighter confrontation where everything came together: social hostility, a shared history that divided the clubs on different sides of the Bosphorus, and a hot Eastern temperament. Emotions that are typical for an average person from calmer Europe here multiplied dozens of times. As you have already understood, we are talking about the Intercontinental Derby and the eternal rivalry of the Istanbul clubs Fenerbahce and Galatasaray. Well then, enjoy watching. Before diving into the history of the clubs, let's figure out why this derby is called Intercontinental, and everything is very simple. Galatasaray takes its roots from the elite Istanbul district of Galata, located in the European part of the city. In 1273, control over the district passed to Genoese merchants, who founded banks, trading offices, and warehouses here. Italian merchants, with the permission of the Byzantines, surrounded the district with walls and built the Galata Tower at the highest point of the area. The homeland of Fenerbahce is Kadıköy, located in the Asian part of Istanbul. As early as the 7th century BC, ancient Greek colonies were located there. Later, these were simply working-class districts of Constantinople, so the name of the derby is simple. The teams are from the same city but are located on different continents. Fenerbahce was founded in 1907, but its roots go back to 1899. At the end of the 19th century, any sports and cultural societies in the Ottoman Empire were banned. Sultan Abdülhamid II feared any associations of interests, considering them a threat to the monarchy, and in general, the Sultan treated everything European with caution, especially English football. The British at that time had already managed more than once to cause serious problems for the Ottoman Empire. In 1899, residents of the Kadıköy district decided to create a team, giving it the name Black Stockings. But soon it disbanded due to fears of persecution. In 1907, on one spring day at a tea table, Ziya Songülen and his associates decided to create the sports club Fenerbahce. This sports society was created in secret in order not to get into trouble. The first Fenerbahce footballers were recruited from ordinary workers. Galatasaray was founded in 1905 by a group of students of Galatasaray High School, led by Ali Sami Yen, a footballer of Albanian origin. The Galatasaray Imperial School was opened in 1481 and originally bore the name Imperial School of the Galata Palace. In 1866, it was transformed following the French educational system and produced a real Turkish elite. In 1908, football in the Ottoman Empire came out from under the ban and clubs began to perform openly. History says that the first victim due to clashes between fans occurred as early as 1911. The clubs played each other only 3 times, and a Galatasaray supporter was stabbed. A year later, the leaders of the teams met to discuss the possibility of unification and the creation of a single club. The reason was that in the hastily created Istanbul League, mainly representatives of English, Greek, and Armenian minorities played. Immigrants from other countries, especially the British, mocked the Turks, who only imitated English teams. But the plans for unification were prevented by the Balkan War, which began in 1912. One way or another, after the First World War and the subsequent War of Independence, there was no longer any talk of partnership between the two capital clubs. Only pure hatred remained. The confrontation between the elite and the working class and the already hot southern blood was often stirred up by refereeing injustice. Galatasaray at times felt very serious pressure from referees. Many explain this by the fact that the main fan of Fenerbahce was Mustafa Kemal Atatürk, the founder of modern Turkey. The Istanbul Giants have played so many matches against each other that their number is rapidly approaching 400. As of today, the advantage belongs to the blue and yellows. Fenerbahce defeated Galatasaray 140 times, while the Lions took victory in 116 matches. Another 111 matches ended in a draw. One of the brightest matches was the final of the Turkish Cup of the 1995-96 season, which consisted of 2 games. Galatasaray won the first match 1-0, but in the second meeting, Fenerbahce won with the same score, and already in extra time, Galatasaray still snatched the cup. The Scottish coach Graham Souness, who had gone mad with happiness, obtained a giant flag and stuck it straight into the pitch in the center circle. Everything would have been fine, but the Galatasaray flag was planted on the home stadium of Fenerbahce. The Canaries fans remembered this for a long time and swore revenge. Turkish fans, as is known, are among the top 3 most reckless in Europe, along with ultras from Poland and Greece. But even Poles and Greeks would hardly have thought of what one Fenerbahce supporter decided to do during an away match with Galatasaray. The fan, who was nicknamed Rambo after this episode, ran onto the pitch, planted a flag in the center circle, and began waving a knife. It was real revenge. If not for the timely actions of the police, surely some of the footballers would have suffered seriously. Turkish fans in general have a rather strange perception of the concept of a code of honor. In Turkey, it is considered normal to use cold weapons in street fights, but the rules say that strikes with such weapons should be delivered with the aim of causing injury, not killing. In 2007, the match of the penultimate round of the Turkish Championship between the already crowned champions Fenerbahce and Galatasaray turned into a real pogrom. Before the main derby of the country, the media heated up the situation and said that Galatasaray needed to defend its honor. The fans understood this in their own way, which led to riots in the stadium and beyond. This derby became the most destructive in history. 12,000 seats were torn out of the stands. The police detained more than 150 people, many of whom received prison sentences and long bans from attending matches of their favorite clubs, regardless of the sport. In March 2011, the government took radical measures to combat hooligans in stadiums. From now on, for manifestations of racism, a fan faces up to 6 years in prison. For attempting to bring weapons into the arena, 1 year of imprisonment. A system of personalized tickets was also introduced. In the same year, the sides met at the new Galatasaray Stadium, which is called the Türk Telekom Arena. The hosts were leading in the score, but in the end, the guests achieved a comeback victory. But the meeting became notable, not even for this. At the Türk Telekom Arena, a noise support level of 132 decibels was recorded. This result entered the Guinness Book of Records, and now 2 Turkish clubs proudly appear in the section of the world record for noise support at sporting events. Like every club, both Fenerbahce and Galatasaray have their heroes, the Bosphorus Bull or the Football God. These are the nicknames awarded, without a doubt, to the great striker Hakan Şükür. Hakan played more than 400 matches for Galatasaray in which he scored almost 250 goals. 17 of them were scored against Fenerbahce. In 1996, Şükür's wedding was broadcast on several public Turkish TV channels. He was that popular. After finishing his career, Hakan went into politics and joined Erdogan's party, but soon he left it, disappointed by the level of corruption and the general manner of conducting affairs. After that, his accounts were frozen, and in 2015, he emigrated to the USA with his family due to constant attacks in his homeland. In 2016, he was declared wanted in Turkey on suspicion of involvement in an attempted coup. In the United States, Hakan was forced to work as an Uber taxi driver. If Şükür is often considered the greatest Turkish footballer, then Fatih Terim is at least the most famous coach from Turkey, the Emperor. That is what he is called. He is also called the father of Hakan. Their duo is considered the most iconic for Turkish football. Playing as a defender, Fatih played for Galatasaray for 11 years. Interestingly, as a player, the Emperor never managed to win the championship. But as a coach, he won 6 championships, 2 cups, and 4 Super Cups of Turkey for the Lions, and most importantly, the UEFA Cup and the European Super Cup. The name Zeki Rızasporlu is hardly known to the wide football public. Nevertheless, it is this man who is the player who scored the most goals for Fenerbahce, 470 goals in 352 matches. Sporlu is also one of those who built Turkish football at the dawn of its birth. Zeki was born back in the 19th century, in the Ottoman Empire, when football was completely banned in the country. Rıza is the best scorer in the derby of 2 continents. He has 27 goals. Finally, he owns an almost unique achievement. Sporlu is the player who moved from Fenerbahce to Galatasaray, played 1 year for the Yellow Reds, and then returned to the Canaries. In general, it is worth saying that many star legionnaires played for Fenerbahce at different times. However, we will focus on Ariel Ortega. For the Canaries, this player spent only 1 season. He arrived in 2002 from River Plate. He became a landmark footballer not only for Fenerbahce but for Turkish football as a whole. By his example, he showed that it is possible to go to Turkey and that it is not dangerous. However, later he demanded from his agent, in an ultimatum form, a return to River Plate. The whole issue was the Turkish language, which the Argentine called hell. He admitted that he was forced to spend the whole day at the club without understanding a single conversation. And that's all. Write what else you would like to know about in the next episodes. Like the video and hit the bell. There will be many more interesting football videos here. If you want even more unseen football stories, rare facts, and episodes that do not make it to YouTube, subscribe to our Telegram channel. There we publish exclusive materials, behind-the-scenes details, and updates about new videos. The link is in the description. See you there.